We've set this up, you set this up by discussing the concept of truth and how we can use it. I'm just wondering how we use that concept during the process.
Okay. Yes, I think that's it. Okay. The truth, let me give different ways by which truth is interesting, which might reassure people who are very worried about hearing the word truth. Truth is not a concept that's very popular. Today, truth, when you say truth, it smells like dogmatism, you're becoming Khomeini, I don't know, truth is like, George Bush, all kind of images. Truth is like, sounds rigid. So let me first of all, to reassure, say truth has different way of operating, of functioning, and let me tell you, the advantage of having traveled in many countries and working in many countries, I have discovered three basic functioning, or I say functioning rather than definition, because I'm interested in truth as an operative, not to make a thesis on truth as an operative. And the three basic operations of truth. One truth, which probably today would be very the most probably obvious, is I would call Anglo-Saxon truth, which is a truth, a pragmatic truth. In other words, I think my car does not function for such a reason. It's broken, so I repair it. It works, so it was truth. And you can call it experimental truth, experimental truth, or empirical truth, or some has to do, in fact, with pragmatism. If it works, if it's true. If it's efficient, it's true. Yes. Now, some people here, for cultural reason, are not shocked by this, but in France, it's a very shocking concept. You live in France, for example, what is, and probably the same, I think the same in most Catholic countries, including in Portugal, so with Portuguese people. Truth is what fits some transcendent thing, like reason, and that's what's true. Truth is a priori. In the Anglo-Saxon tradition, truth is a constructivist concept. We construct truth. Yes, it works. In the traditional Roman concept, which can be as well the Greek concept, Roman, both the sense of the Roman culture and of the Catholic culture, it's a priori true, and so you have to discover truth. When in the experimental thing, you have to construct. Now these things don't necessarily totally oppose. Sometimes they can overlap, but it's something I order. We have to construct truth, like a scientific theory, or do we have to discover it? For example, is the relativity theory of Einstein? Did Einstein discover the principle of the universe, or did he construct some operative? Today in physics, I don't remember the word they use, but basically what is accepted theory is that it's operative, and that's the way generally it's conceived, right? So there's two kinds of truth. One I would call truth of reason, and the one I would call experimental truth. Or, for example, it's like objectivity. Objectivity, is it that most people think something is like that? That's a constructivist conception of objectivity. Or is it in itself, right? The famous noumena that Kant said, you have to postulate it, but you can't say much about it, right? And the third conception of truth is what we call subjectivist truth. Culturally, it's encountered mainly in for example, Muslim countries. Encounter this, but to show it's not only in for example, Muslim countries. Kierkegaard defends that. Kierkegaard, sorry for the pronunciation. How do you say it? Kierkegaard. How do you say it?
Good.
No, your neighbor, not you, your neighbor.
I don't...
So, I know, it's terrible. See, it's so bad the way I say that for a Danish person, she doesn't know it. Søren, you gonna be good?
What? Ah, Søren Kierkegaard.
You see? Yeah. That's, I knew I had to apologize for it. Yeah, okay. So, who says that there's no truth outside of subjectivity? You know, for this fundamental. Why? Because precisely he was fighting about the Protestant, very strong word. I think he said no. It's commitment. Truth is commitment. And I'm saying this. Probably if you take, you find this in Muslim country. We find this as well around the Mediterranean as well. Only you find this something in southern France, or we find this. I swear to you that it's true. It's a very interesting expression, which might sound from sort of ridiculous, because you say, I swear to you, you know, you can swear me anything, you know, on the head of your mother or whatever. But no, it has a very specific meaning. It means I commit myself, and it's an existential commitment, and in a way it makes sense. That truth is singular truth, is an existential commitment to something. So that's the third form of truth, yes. But if I had to give, because truth after all is one word, so we have to give it what is common to those three different things, or other conception of truth which you might have, I would call it adequation. Adéquation. Although adéquation, this adequation, you have it in Thomas Aquinas, it says as an equation between the thing and the intellect. Adéquation de intellectu. It's adequation between what you think and what is real. You know? But it doesn't have to be that, but I think it's adequation. Adequation between your speech and your act, adequation between thinking and reality, adequation between reason and its consequence, adequation. So, adequation. Now, why? Because when you question somebody, when you question someone, and that's why, by the way, logic or coherency is so important. When you question someone, you want to see what coheres, what fits together, right? But at the same time, the difference is not between people who are coherent and have no contradictions and people who have contradictions, not coherent, because by definition, the whole being of the human is full of things which don't cohere together, which have contradictions. Therefore, there are always contradictions and incoherencies. So the difference for me is between people that have contradictions, that know them, or accept them, or want to know them, and people who have contradictions and don't want to see them. Yes? Don't want to recognize it. So the problem, in a way, is not the contradiction, but the problem is the fact of not wanting to recognize the contradiction. And that's why, by the way, the subjective component of truth is so important. That's okay. So that would be a short summary of what I can see why truth is an important operator.